What's up, Summoners? King Player here. Today, for Top 5 Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the top 5 control units. So, units that are very good at debuffing the opponent, slowing them down, and making it hard for the opponent to fight you or even get to play the game at certain points. So, if you like the video and want to see more, make sure you like, subscribe, and join the Discord server. Y'all been doing amazing. We're almost at 3K. Let's see if we can break through that mark with this video. Right, enough about that. Let's get to the video for Top 5 Tuesday. So this is going to be regarding control units. Now, there's a lot of units that are getting buffs like Sage, Cerise, and Pearl Horizon, who are going to be pretty strong once the buff come around. But we're talking about current. I'm not going to be making any potential suggestions. But let's talk about the honorable mentions first. And we actually will have Cerise be in that honorable mention. So Cerise is going to be one of the honorable mentions. I do want to point out she is already an amazing control unit and she will be getting buffed, which is why everyone is so excited about it. So the S3 is still just amazing, applying slow, applying restrict, and has an S2 stun, single target, but it can ignore effect resistance, and it's on a measly 3-turn cooldown on a unit that is zooming past the opponent. So Cerise, actually a really solid control unit. Another honorable mention that I do want to go over is Moonlight Aramentia. Moonlight Aramentia does require a little bit more control and does rely on a lot on RNG. So S3 still one of the best control in the game. Applying the stun, applying the burn, it's insane. You get the skill off, you're most likely winning the fight. But she does rely a lot on this S3 and the S2 continuous CC. It's not going to be there unless you get lucky with Abyssal Crown procs, right? So she relies a lot on getting Abyssal Crown procs, which is not something you want to rely on, which is why she's not as high up on this list. And lastly, T-Surin, another really good damage dealer for control teams. This S3 is crushing the silence that cannot be buffed, and it's every 3 turns, which makes it extremely annoying to deal with, and the silence can win you fights outright. She doesn't go higher on this list because she's not really going to have as much effectiveness and won't be able to typically land it on units like Relights and even on some Liliuses out there. So while she does a really good job controlling and one of the best damage dealer control units, she doesn't quite pack the punch that some of these other units do have. Alright, now let's get to the top 5, starting at number 5. So number 5, we have none other than Basar. So Basar is a weird scenario, and I did consider switching him with one of the other units like Moonlight Aramentia. But why did he make it to number 5? So Basar is not actually going to be stunning the opponent and stopping the opponent from retaliating, but the amount of setup that he provides and the opportunity to just set up into nasty control teams while being potentially able to stun himself because he's a mage are just insane, right? So he does have some control aspects to him. This S3 is insane. Removing debuffs is so important in the control format. If you're not able to remove those debuffs, you're kind of in a bad spot. And Basar can always get the guaranteed hit when he soul burns with his S3, guaranteeing himself the strip and the 30% pushback, allowing your team to take extra turns before the opponent can, and stopping your opponent from getting buffs. If you have him on Abyssal Crown, this guy does manage to land a lot of debuffs, and it can be quite annoying to deal with a good Basar. The other thing is he has a little bit more on his S2 as well, having the decreased hit chance and decreased attack chance. While this only does go up to 75% chance, it is still really hard to deal with these 2 debuffs, and it allows Basar to make it so he's taking less damage. The other thing is that this skill is AoE, giving him another opportunity to proc Abyssal Crown. So unlike Moonlight Aramentia, who only has the initial S3 and then doesn't really provide much more for the team, Basar does have this extra decreased hit chance and decreased attack, as well as some other things here and there that he can transfer debuffs and apply random debuffs. So again, a lot more debuffs than Moonlight Aramentia, a lot more consistent, and the fact that he can slow burn this to get a guaranteed hit on the opponent, a guaranteed pushback, and I guarantee cannot be buffed, still makes him one of the best control units and one of the best supports for control units. Alright, that's enough for the number 5. Now onto the number 4, we start seeing our heavy control heroes, and that is going to be Tenebria. Tenebria can lock down an opponent like it's nothing and make it extremely hard for them to come back, while also providing a lot of debuffs that just makes it really easy for you to pick off units on the enemy team. Tenebria's S3 is so freaking annoying. She has an 85% chance to decrease defense and put all targets to sleep. So not only is she stunning, or stun. It is a sleep, which means that you can't bring AoE, but it kind of acts as a stun if you have her being last on your rotation. AoE attack that puts them to sleep, essentially taking away the turn, as well as a decreased defense for 2 turns. So a decreased defense will allow you to pick off units from the opponent. This skill is not at 100%, but it's in a pretty short cooldown, only being at 4 turns, that allows you to apply decreased defense and sleep. There's also the S2, which allows you to apply decreased speed. And if you guys didn't know, decreased speed is absolutely crushing, while also allowing you to push back by 30%. So similar to Basar, you're able to push back 30% and also apply a decreased speed. What makes her so good, again, is mages. You will see a lot of these units in the top 5 are going to be mages because they tend to have the best artifacts with Abyssal Crown and Lela Violin. Tenebria is one of the units that can actually make use of Lela Violin. Since she already has the S3 for sleeping, she can sometimes be able to use the S2 to remove buffs from the opponent, apply a slow, push back, and do all that good stuff, and continuously take away debuffs from the opponent, and also has the CC capabilities again, as well as the decreased defense. On top of all this, she also does have an S1 that allows you to sleep the target, and it's actually a pretty good chance, 70% chance to sleep the opponent, and give herself a 50% combat readiness boost, which will allow her to get to the S3 much faster, allowing her to essentially control the opponent and CC them to death. Tenebria definitely one of the best control units in this game. Now, we're getting to the top 3, who are some of the heaviest control units in this game. They apply so many debuffs and just control the pace of the game so well. At number 3, we have none other than Broman. So if y'all didn't know, he is going to be an ML 4-star, and this guy can be a control unit himself. So far, pretty much all the units but the top 1 will actually be mages, because they have access to Lela Violin, Abyssal Crown, and even things like Sarah Wren. So why Broman, and why does Broman not rank higher? So biggest thing, this S3 is one of the most absolutely crushing S3s in the game, having a 100% chance to remove 2 debuffs, which at the beginning of the game, it's basically all debuffs that the opponent can have with a barrier and immunity. They just get stripped. And then you have 75% chance to land silence on the enemy. This is where Broman really starts shining, especially when paired with something like an Abyssal Crown. So the reason Broman is not higher on this list is actually going to be, again, his reliability. 75% means that you're missing 25% of units with your silence, and you're hoping to land Abyssal Crowns on the rest, and Abyssal Crown only has like a 25% chance to land a stun. So while he is able to strip, similar to Basar, his opportunity to land a silence is very, very low, and you do have to rely on Abyssal Crown, which does hurt him why he's not higher, but it's still insane. We've all seen Broman land that full team silence, full team stun, and it's just absolutely crushing. There is no coming back from that. His ability to also not be pushed back lets him a lot harder to deal with, especially when you think of units like Assassin Sid or even units like Wanderer Silk or Lidica. They're not as easily able to push him back since he's unable to be pushed back, right? So it makes it a lot harder to actually counter him in that aspect, or Lily is pushing him back. And then there is the S1. So if you do attack a silenced enemy, you will be proccing another skill on this S1, which allows you to push back 15 to 50%. So again, the RNG aspect of the skill makes it not as good, but still being able to push back the opponent and AoE attack, allowing you to proc Crown more often, makes you be an extremely good control unit. The silence for 2 turns doesn't let the opponent do anything for 2 turns. And then your ability to cycle them out with this S1 into an S2, giving you so many chances to proc Abyssal Crown, so many chances to just do all this nasty stuff that your opponent won't be able to do a lot of. So now you may be wondering, man, that sounded really good. AoE silence, AoE pushback, and a ton of stunts due to Abyssal Crown, right? Who could be better than this? Well, we're going to go to none other than Dizzy. This unit used to be the golden standard for debuffers. While her reign has been cut short, while she's not as strong as she is before due to the existence of ML Crow, she is still insanely good and can deal so... Like, if you get the S3 off, you're most likely going to be winning your game. The S3 is one of the most crushing debuff AoEs in this game. She may not be stunning, but the decreased speed, decreased attack, and decreased hit chance basically makes those units not that scary, and the decreased speed makes it so they can't take as many turns. Again, this is only on a 4-turn cooldown, and it's AoE, allowing you to use either Lila Violin to remove buffs or Abyssal Crown to get some nice stuns. And that's just the S3. This S3 is absolutely crushing. If you get this off, it's pretty much GG. To top it all off, the S2 is able to extend the duration of those debuffs, making this essentially a 3-turn debuff duration, which means that if your Dizzy is fast enough, by the time that they're able to cleanse off these debuffs, you will already be able to have pushed them back and have your S3 back up, allowing you to set back up into an S3. It's absolutely filthy and will allow you to continuously cycle them out, put so many debuffs, make them not be able to really do much damage to you, slow them down, and it just hurts. It just really, really hurts. The other thing is that this S2 also pushes back by 50%, giving her that advantage, because when you think, if you apply decreased speed, you outspeed them, you push them back, you're going to be able to take 2 turns before they even take 1, right? And when you think of Lila Violin or Abyssal Crown, you're landing stuns or stripping buffs, depending on what you decide to go for. And then, on top of all that, while you're waiting for your cooldowns on the S3, you get 2 turns of an AoE attack that can also stun, like an Abyssal Crown with 25%. AoE! That's really, really nice. No RNG, right? All these moves are AoE, which is really, really nice. There's our 100% chance to land these debuffs. This is a 100% chance to extend the duration, 100% chance to land that 50% combat rate and its reduction. The reliability of Dizzy and the amount of debuffs that she can pump out along with the AoE makes her extremely scary. She can be shut out by cleansers and immunity setters, because immunity setters are able to take the turn and Dizzy can't really stun them. So cleansers, since you're not really stunning until you get to this S1, it does make it so Dizzy does look to cleansers, unlike Broman, who can actually land the S3 and silence. But Broman's not, it's more unreliable, whereas Dizzy with Crown, you can just opt to make an S2 and wait until you're able to use your S3. Or if you set her up with a team that's a control team, you can just put this up and it's just basically GG, as long as you stun their cleanser. So, pretty good! Pretty solid unit, one of the best control units, and still really, really scary. Does get shut out by Emerald Craw, which is why she doesn't see as much play. If not, she would easily be number 1. But you may be wondering, who could be number 1? And y'all, this unit, I really considered it, but he's the only non-mage. And the reason why he's so broken is going to be his Soulburn. Now, before you get your pitchforks, hear me out. Why is a Taiwan number 1 control unit? So first off, all his skills that he's using are applying debuffs. While he may not have access to Lila Violin or things like Abyssal Crown, his S3 already has a built-in 85% chance to stun and decrease speed. Right? You may be wondering, okay, that doesn't sound that crazy, right? Broman gets a full strip and a 2-turn silence. Why should this be scary, right? So a Taiwan will take a little bit more setup than Broman and a Basar, but the amount of controlling that you're doing is just simply not okay. This Soulburn is one of the most broken Soulburns in this game. This skill is on a 4-turn cooldown like all the other counter heroes that we talked about, but by burning this skill with just the cost of a measly 10 souls, which you're going to be getting just by taking your turns normally, right? Or if you put a book on another unit. This skill has essentially a 1-turn cooldown. You're able to S3, stun, decrease speed on the opponent. The opponent is stunned that turn, is still decreased speed. You lap them with a Taiwan. You go into an S1 that also has a 75% chance to provoke. And by the time your turn comes up again, once they get rid of the decreased speed buff, you just do it all over again. Soulburn, S3, decreased speed, stun. That's insane. Every other turn, you get an AoE stun and an AoE decreased speed. Even though it's not 100% and it's only at 85%, every other turn, a stun and a decreased speed. No other control unit has this much reliability on controlling an enemy. And the thing about it is the turn that you're waiting, it's not wasted, because now you can just S1, remove souls from the opponent, take away that advantage, that stack up ability that they have from souls, and provoke with a 75% chance. You pair this off with something like an Elris Sword, every time they try to take a turn, they're going to get Elris Sword potentially, get provoked, lose souls, get stunned, and just repeat and rinse, repeat and rinse. And on top of all that, he is tanky as heck. You will not be able to kill this guy easily, which means he will be getting an insane amount of S3s in the game. So that makes a Taiwan the best control unit out in the game right now. We didn't even talk about the second passive, which basically makes him like a counter to control, right? So this kind of makes him a counter to control and makes it hard for you to be able to lock him down. Which means that he will be getting this S3s very consistently, and you won't be able to really lock him down, and it's hard to one-shot, making him the best, just so reliable. AoE stun every other turn, and provoke and soul stealing. But that is all I have for you guys today for this top 5. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.